Hello students, I am Neeraj sir. We are going to study science lesson number 4 measurement of matter part 3. In the previous parts we have already discussed some basic concepts and law of conservation of mass. Today we are going to discuss law of constant proportion. Before understanding that we will discuss some basic concepts so that we can understand that law properly. So I hope you will watch the complete video so that you can understand the topic clearly. Don't fast forward the video, you see the video carefully and see each and every point with full attention. So first, structure of atom means how the atoms look like, which are the different particles of atom, etc. So there are three main particles of atom, that is protons, neutrons and electrons. So protons, neutrons and electrons. So protons and neutrons are always present inside the nucleus, therefore they are known as nucleons. And electrons are revolving around the nucleus in various fixed orbits. Can you compare the structure of atom with in our day-to-day life or with anything in the universe? Yes. You can compare the structure of atom with solar system. As in solar system, sun is in the middle and planets are revolving around the sun in fixed orbits. In the same way, in atom, nucleus is in the middle and electrons are revolving around the nucleus in various fixed orbits. Now, what are the charges on these subatomic particles? So protons are having positive charge, electrons are having negative charge, and neutrons are having no charge. So let us see this interesting image. This image shows the structure of atom clearly. You can see in the middle nucleus is present, like in solar system sun is present in the middle, and electrons are revolving around the nucleus in fixed orbits. You can see in each and every orbit the number of electrons are different. Why is it so? We have studied in the previous class. There is formula 2n square by which we can fill the electrons in each and every orbit. First orbit contains only 2 electrons, second orbit contains 8 electrons and so on. So you can revise that lesson again for better understanding. You might remember that chapter inside the atom in the previous class. Now here also it is same as the solar system, only difference is that in solar system the each and every orbit contains only single planet. Here each and every orbit contains minimum 2 electrons. The smallest orbit is near to the nucleus, that is containing only 2 electrons, and as the orbit is increased the number of electrons is also increasing. Now this is also a very nice image. This is also showing the same thing. In middle nucleus is present and electrons are revolving around the nucleus in fixed orbits, and energy of each and every orbit is different. Now this is image of iridium atoms seen under field ion microscope. So atoms are very tiny, that's why more modern instruments like electron microscope, field ion microscope, scanning tunneling microscope have the capacity to show the enlarged images of the atom. So simple microscope or compound microscope cannot be used to see the images of atom because they are not having more magnification power. So these type of special microscopes can be used. So here in this image, every spot is an atom. So let us see atomic mass. As I have told you, whole mass of the atom is situated inside the nucleus, and nucleus contains protons and neutrons. So therefore for calculating atomic mass we have formula atomic mass is equal to number of protons plus neutrons. Here you can denote A is equal to atomic mass, P is equal to number of protons, and N is equal to number of neutrons. So if you know any two things of these three things, you can calculate the other one. So by modifying this formula you can calculate the number of protons is equal to A minus N and number of neutrons is equal to A minus P. So this is about atomic mass. Now we will see first 20 elements, their atomic numbers, their atomic mass and shortcut trick to remember them. So these are the first 10 elements. Let us see the trick to remember them. Hi, hello, Lina Vina brought cashew nuts on Friday night. You can see this trick. By this trick you can remember all first 10 elements and you can remember for your lifetime. It is very simple trick. Hi, You can see H is matching with the symbol of hydrogen here, and hello, you can see He is matching with this line. So in this way, each and every word is having some letters or some alphabets which are matching with the symbol of that element. Now, this trick you have already studied in the previous class. Still, I have given because some of you might have forgotten. Now, how to remember the atomic mass of this? So these are the atomic mass. These all things are atomic mass. So you can see the atomic mass of hydrogen is same as its atomic number, that is 1, because hydrogen contain only 1 proton and 0 neutrons. So you will get only 1 as answer. And if you notice, atomic number of the even atomic mass of the even atomic numbers is always twice. You can see if the atomic number of helium is 2, its atomic mass is twice 4. Here you can see atomic number of carbon is 6, its atomic mass is 12. Here you can see atomic number of hydrogen is 8, its atomic mass is 16. And now we will see about the odd atomic numbers. Here you can see lithium atomic number is 3. Here twice into atomic number plus 1 means 2 into 3 plus 1, that is 7. Here you can see fluorine. Fluorine is having 9 atomic number, which is odd number. So 9 into 2, 18 plus 1, 19. So most of the elements are in this first 20 elements, most of the elements are following this rule. Atomic mass of odd atomic number is equal to 2 into atomic number plus 1, and atomic mass of even atomic number is 2 into atomic number. Exceptions to this rule are 1, 4, 7, 17 and 18. Means the atomic number 1, that is hydrogen, 4, that is beryllium, 7, that is nitrogen. These are not following the rule. You can see 4 is an even number, but its atomic mass is following the odd atomic number rule, that is 2 into 4 plus 1, that is 9. So this rule is only for the other elements. So 1, 4, 7, 17 and 18 are not following the rule. Here you can see the next 10 elements, 11 to 20. So let us see the trick. Sodium is Na. So you can remember this. Na mago Allah se Pepsi soda cola agar khana cake. Very interesting. This is very simple trick to remember. Now how to remember atomic mass of these? You can see same rule is follow. If you see sodium, atomic mass is 23. It is odd atomic number, so 2 into 11 plus 1. So 22 plus 1, you will get 23. Means it is the rule of odd atomic numbers, you are getting the atomic mass as 23. Now you will see some example of even atomic numbers. Magnesium. So simply 2 into 12. 2 into atomic number, that is 24. Now let us see about the aluminium, which is odd atomic number, 13. So 13, it will for twice into 13 plus 1 means 26 plus 1, that is 27. So you are getting the same answer, you can see. So here only exceptions are chlorine and argon. Chlorine and argon are not following the rule, but most of the other elements are following the rule. So by this way you can remember the atomic number and atomic weight of first 20 elements. So whenever you start writing this chapter, you have to write first 20 elements, their atomic number, their name and their atomic mass. And also you can also write the shortcut trick to remember them. Now we will start law of constant proportion. This law is stated by French scientist J.L. Proust. He has studied a lot of chemical reactions and come to conclusion that the proportion by weight of constituent elements in various samples of compound are fixed. So let us see this definition. The proportion by weight of the constituent elements in the various samples of a compound is fixed. Means, for example, if you take H2O, so here proportion, we are not taking the ratio of atoms, that is 2:1. Here we are not taking the ratio of atoms. Here we are taking the ratio of their weights, their atomic mass. So that's why we have studied the atomic mass earlier. So here if you take H2O, the ratio of mass of hydrogen and oxygen will be always equal to 1 is to 8. Means if you take 9 gram of water, it will contain 1 gram hydrogen and 8 gram oxygen. So in this way, water is a compound which contains hydrogen, oxygen, and the sources of water may be different. It may be river, ocean, pond, lake, it may be tap water. So all the water from the different sources will have the same ratio, that is 1 is to 8. Okay, so let us read the definition again. The proportion by weight of the constituent elements in the various samples of a compound is fixed. Means if the compound is obtained from the different samples, but the ratio of the elements in that compound will be always fixed. So let us see the verification of this law. So this part is very important. So I want you all to listen this part or very carefully so that you can understand properly. Now let us start with the verification of law of constant proportion. So we are taking two different samples, that is copper carbonate and copper nitrate. We are heating the copper carbonate and we are getting copper oxide, that is known as lime. And we are also heating copper nitrate and we are getting copper oxide lime. So after decomposition of both the samples, we are getting the copper oxide. Means this copper oxide is obtained from copper carbonate and this is obtained from copper nitrate. Means sources of this copper oxide is different. So we have to form that whether the ratio of copper and oxygen from both the samples is same or not. So let us see step by step. Now we are taking 8 gram of copper oxide from the above sample and reacting it with hydrogen gas. So here also we are taking 8 gram of copper oxide and reacting it with hydrogen gas. And after reaction, we are getting 6.4 gram copper and 1.8 gram of water. Here also you are getting 6.4 gram of copper and 1.8 gram of water. So first thing you got that both the sample contains 6.4 gram of copper. It means that the ratio of copper is same, but we have to calculate copper and oxygen both. Here you are getting 1.8 gram of water, but you don't know how much oxygen is present. Here also you are getting 1.8 gram of water. So now we have to calculate how much amount of oxygen is present in that sample. So we have simple calculation. Now here you know that in water the ratio of constituent elements is 1 is to 8 by weight. If you take 9 gram of water, it will give 8 gram oxygen and 1 gram of hydrogen. So if you take you are getting only 1.8 gram of water, so you can do simple calculations to get amount of oxygen. So let us see that calculation. Then again we will move towards this slide. See, if you take 9 gram of water, it will give 8 gram oxygen. It will have 8 gram oxygen and remaining is 1 gram is hydrogen. So in the same way, if you have 1.8 gram of water, then how much will be the oxygen? So this you have to find. So you can do simply cross multiplication. 1.8 multiplied by 8 divided by 9 simply. So students, let us see simple calculations. 1.8 multiplied by 8 divided by 9. So you will get answer as 1.6 gram. It means that 1.6 gram of oxygen is present in 1.8 gram of water. So let us move towards the previous slide. So we were doing this calculation. 8 into 1.8 divided by 9. Your answer is 1.6. It means that 1.8 gram of water contain 1.6 gram of oxygen. So in both the samples we are getting 1.8 gram of water. It means that both the samples will contain 1.6 gram of oxygen and remaining of hydrogen. So the main ratio we want to find about copper and oxygen. So weight of copper is simply 6.4 gram and weight of oxygen is 1.6 gram. So you can compare the ratio of copper and oxygen, that is 6.4 raised to 1.6. So the simplest ratio is coming out to be 4:1. So the experimental ratio we have calculated, that is copper is to oxygen, is 6.4:1, means simplest ratio is 4:1. So now let us compare this ratio with the actual values of copper and oxygen. So the actual atomic mass of copper is 63.5 and atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So expected ratio we can calculate it by simplifying this. So after simplification, this bigger ratio, you can get the simple ratio as 3.968:1. So 3.968 is nearly equal to 4. It means that the ratio is nearly same, that is 4:1. So expected ratio is also 4:1 and the experimental ratio which we have seen earlier is also 4:1. So you can see the similarity between the expected result and experimental result. It means that the law is 100% correct and verified. So experimental result and experimental proportion is equal to the expected proportion. It means that the law is verified. So I hope you have understood this law of constant proportion. So students, thanks for watching the video and stay tuned for the next videos.